Hola amigos, this is another Spanish video lesson with Maestro Nico. And today we are talking about los verbos irregulares in el pretérito. You will learn what they are, the unique grammar rules, and exercises for you to practice. Listo? So, irregular preterite verbs. Just like in the present tense where we had verbs such as ir and tener, they had stem changes or they were just completely irregular, such as those verbs. Well, bienvenidos. We also have irregular verbs in el pasado, in el pretérito. And today we're going to be talking about some of the most common ones and the most important. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys. There's not really gonna be much rhyme or reason, secret pattern with all these verbs. They have their own uniqueness. So you're gonna have to memorize these and acquire them naturally over time. Now, I would say that hacer, ir, decir, and traer are the most important irregular verbs in this section, as they are used so frequently in simple narrations. Tener, poder, querer, estar, saber, and ser do not refer to actions as much, but more to a mental state. Their function and meaning are more complex than those of simple action verbs. It is important to note that irregular preterite verbs will not have a stress on their final syllable. So in el pretérito normal, remember we would have a stress on the end. But when we talk about irregular preterite, we're not going to see any more acentos, and that is something that will differentiate the irregular preterite from the regular preterite. It is also important to note that the present tense stem changing verbs, think about like pensar or querer, that will go from E to IE. Those do not apply here at all when you talk about el pretérito and irregular verbs in el pretérito. Take the verbs hacer and ir, for example. Hacer, yo hice, tú hiciste, él, ella, usted hizo, nosotros hicimos, ellos, ellas, ustedes hicieron. Or el verbo ir, yo fui, tú fuiste, él fue, nosotros fuimos, ellos fueron. Notice there is definitely a different pattern. The ending is different. And sometimes there's even a stem change or something that changes in the root of the word. So there might be a difference on the beginning, the end, or both. So these are the irregular preterite verbs that you really ought to know. And notice they have differences. For example, tener, you would think, okay, so drop the ER and then I'm gonna add these endings. No. So this is how you start off all of these verbs. Vamos a practicar. Tener, tuve. Estar, estuve. Poder, pude. Wait. So what about the ER, IR endings that we already learned for the preterite? Well, it's going to be similar. But notice that we're starting off, for example, tener, it's now tuve. So automatically it looks different. Poder, pude. Poner, pus. Saber, su. Hacer, is. Okay, so here we have this whole list. And also on the right side, vener, querer, decir. So look how different they look. Vener, vin. Querer, quis. Of course, this isn't the complete conjugation. This is just where we're starting and then we're going to add endings to them. Therefore, for the irregular preterite verbs, there is a pattern, a conjugation pattern that we will follow. Repeat after me. Iste, o, imos, hieron. Again. Iste, o, imos, hieron. Por ejemplo, ayer yo hice la tarea de español. Josué dijo que la fiesta fue muy divertida. ¿Dónde pusiste la chaqueta? So here is an image that has all these different verbs conjugated from beginning to end. You have tener, you have estar, you have poder, poner, etc. And notice their endings are all the same, regardless of if it's AR, ER, or IR. I continue. Venir, querer, decir. Notice these have changes as well. Now, it gets pretty wild because if you look at, for example, querer, it starts off now with quis. So, quise, quisiste, quiso, quisimos, quisieron. Very different than querer. Now, if you look at the final three verbs, traer, conducir, and traducir, those are going to be a little bit different if you look at the very ending. So the C goes to J. is diferente. So, for conducir, ellos condujeron. Traducir, ellas tradujeron. Notice the C goes to J. Another verb that has a letter swap, such as traducir or conducir, is the verb hacer. And you'll notice that the C goes to Z or zeta in él, ella, usted, in third person singular. So, él hizo la tarea, María hizo la tarea. Now, I just mentioned conducir, decir, traducir, and traer. Notice that these verbs, they all drop the I from the hicieron, ending in ustedes, ellos, ellas form. For example, ¿qué te dijeron de mí? Me dijeron que estás locamente enamorada. Por ejemplo, ¿qué trajeron ustedes de comer? Trajimos refrescos y empanadas. So again, notice that the I is dropped. So usually it'd be hicieron, but for conducir, decir, traducir, and traer, we say, chao, nos vemos, and the I goes away. Finally, there are two verbs that are conjugated exactly the same in the irregular preterite. Now you're saying, wait, what? Yes, ser and ir. So the verbs ser and ir share the same stem in the past tense. Their forms are thus identical, so the meaning must be inferred from context. So, yo fui, tú fuiste, él, ella, usted fue, nosotros fuimos. I could be talking about that we went, nosotros fuimos, but I could also be saying that we were. And again, depending on the context of the sentence, we can understand what's being said. For example, ¿a dónde fue Sebastián anoche? Fue al cine. Obviously, we're talking about where he went. ¿Qué fue ese ruido? No fue nada. Estás imaginando cosas. So here, we're not talking about the action of going, but rather what is or what was in el pasado. So that's it. These irregular past tense verbs, not only do they not have accent marks, but they have their own stem that changes. And they also have their own endings, which are iste, o, imos, hicieron. And yes, some of those drop the I in the hicieron. Vamos a practicar. María dice, ¿por qué llegar tú tarde a clase esta mañana? Rosa dice, yo llegar tarde porque yo tener que llevar a mi hijo a la escuela. ¿Qué hacer anoche, Jaime? Pues yo no hacer mucho. Yo estar muy cansado. Yo tocar la guitarra por un ratito y acostarse a las 10. I can already tell you we have several irregular preterite verbs that you just learned about. And there's also some such as llegar and tocar that have an irregularity just in the yo form. Go ahead and pause the video now and complete this exercise. ¿Por qué llegaste tarde a clase esta mañana? Yo llegué tarde porque yo tuve que llevar a mi hijo a la escuela. Notice llegué, you add that you in there. Yes, I know, it's irregular in the yo form. ¿Qué hiciste anoche, Jaime? Pues yo no hice mucho. Yo estuve muy cansado. Yo toqué mi guitarra por un ratito y me acosté a las 10. So as you can see, there are lots of irregular preterite verbs, and there are some verbs that still follow the preterite rules, but they have irregularities just in the O form or in other places in the verb. I know, it's very confusing, but it's a process and you have to memorize these verbs. So, buena suerte!